Hello and welcome back to my channel, After School with Dr. Crystal. Benvenidos, and today I want to introduce the theme of the week and the word of the week, which is commitment. Commitment, I want to start with the definition, and then I'll tell you a little bit about why I decided to choose this particular theme to follow last week's theme, pursuit. Commitment, according to Merriam-Webster, is the agreement or pledge to do something in the future. It can also be considered a state of being obligated or emotionally impelled to action. Some synonyms to the word commitment are faithfulness, allegiance, dedication, loyalty, devotion, and even responsibility. The Oxford Dictionary says that commitment is the state of being dedicated to a cause or to an activity, which is why I think it's really relevant for us who are educators and teachers to be thinking about our upcoming classes in terms of what are the commitments that we are making as our role in designing courses and implementing courses for our students. And the last one is engagement that restricts freedom of activity. So I think that's also an important concept of commitment. So commitment often, if you are to look for not just synonyms, but content on the word commitment inside of, Google or whatever search engines you prefer, a lot of times what you see is information about relationships. When we think about commitments, we think about monogamy, we think about infidelity/fidelity, we think about being exclusive as a relationship status, relationship goals. And when we think about commitment in the context of relationships with other humans, there's this implied meaning or outcome that's expected. And that's where the loyalty and the fidelity comes in. And commitment tells you what you're committed to, tells you what you care about and the way in which you're going to care for that thing. So what I'm doing this week is looking at commitment as a career coach as something that has more meaning in terms of our career goal. Many of us, as I said in previous episodes, went into teaching or the professorate because we had a certain expectation beyond maybe the lifestyle implications, freedom, flexibility, having, a certain amount of time to dedicate yourself to research or service obligations that you love and you feel passionate about. Our commitment to becoming educators, to becoming faculty, started with a decision for many of us to enter a doctoral program and finish a doctoral program. So we've obviously had periods in our life where we've, prior to this period in our career, have thought long and hard about what we want to make our commitment to in choosing a dissertation topic, etc. Choosing who's to be on your committee, who to be your mentor, where to pursue a position, what types of projects to get involved in, what types of professional associations to become involved in. And so the idea that I want you to journal about this week or to reflect on is, if I'm pursuing a career in X, what are the commitments that you have to make to support that type of career? And even once you're on the academic train, tenure track or non-tenure track, as I said last week, we're all pursuing a particular career goal. And to the extent in which you can visualize and articulate what it is that you're pursuing at every season in your career, I believe you're going to be more successful, because commitments are required in order for you to pursue whatever that particular goal is. And what those commitments are determine what decisions that you're going to make, how you're going to use your time, your energy, your finances. It means you're going to make decisions not to do things. And this leads me to a really interesting quote that comes from Jill Koenig, who is a goals coach that I'm familiar with basically through those social media streets. And she says that commitment is the glue that bonds you to your career goals. Commitment is the glue that bonds you to your career goals. And I actually like the idea of commitment as a bonding agent, particularly when we think about what are the goals that we're actually pursuing. Another quote that I think is really important that, love him or hate him, Neil Strauss has been a very successful best-selling international author and journalist. And I think his comment around commitment is also very compelling. Without commitment, you can't have depth in anything, whether it's a relation or a business or a hobby. And I like this particular idea because it reminds me that at different phases in your career, you might have a different relationship or a different level of commitment or intensity of commitment when it comes to what you're doing between teaching, research, and service, between balance, if you believe in the idea of balance, and the other aspects of your life. The next thing that I want to really talk about is I have another coach, Dr. Shana, who I'm in the middle of a self-care challenge in her world. And one of the things she said to me recently, which was really interesting, not just me, but a group of her members, was that balance is sort of a myth, that you can't really have an actual balance, that our commitment to our careers or our business or whatever it is that we're doing, sometimes we need to go hard. Sometimes we need to be off balance. But that is something that is a choice that we make consciously to do for a period of time. So I think one of the problems with overwhelm and burnout in higher education and in K through 12 education as well is that we're burned out. And burned out, as she says, means that something was burning, and most likely it was us. So definitely check out Dr. Shana and her materials if that's something that resonates with you as well. I feel like I have been burned by the level of intensity of which I was expected to teach in terms of the volume of classes, the demands of, working outside of the classroom, whether it was administration or administrating a program, assessment projects. And I don't want to start listing things because you all know, if you're inside higher ed, what the to-do list looks like. But you're basically living at 110%. And anytime you choose something like sleep or vacation or a health challenge that you have to face, you sort of come back and you really can never get your nose out of the water. I won't say never, that I don't like absolutes, but I think it's really, really a challenge if you take time off to come back. And you need that time off. You need whatever the idea is around how for a limited time you can give maybe your career. First of all, this idea of giving 110% is ludicrous because we can't give 110%. We all only get 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So it's so important for us to think about of that time, of that energy, of that focus, where is work compared to the other things that we must pursue in our life, such as our health. As you are reaching a certain age, you may be 30, or I was 40 when I started my teaching career in higher education. It was a second career for me. And I do feel like I came into it in a honeymoon phase, doing a lot of 110% semesters, years, decades. But as time moves on, you reach a point in your career where you really have to center your health mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. You have to center your relationships. Otherwise, you will crash and burn, and you will reach that burnout stage. So for myself, as you all know, because I've been talking a little bit about social justice and impact that I make in the classroom, I've decided to work in a teaching institution mostly because I was the child or product of two teachers, and I loved the idea of being able to create transformation in the classroom. As a social scientist, I'm very interested in how, not just how students learn, but how students understand their identity, how they activate and get empowered and engaged in their communities. And also I'm interested in thinking about how do we create more of a culture of transformation through the college classroom. One of the things that I believe that I do well and that I enjoy is designing classroom experiences. As you all may be aware of, the ACU, American Association of Colleges and Universities, have this concept of the high impact practices. Well, I have this idea of the high impact professor. What makes a high impact, the most important high impact practice is to have high impact professors, to have faculty, to recruit and retain faculty, and to empower them to be impactful in the classroom through their abilities to connect with students, engage students, and create transformational learning experiences. So my business at this phase of my career is really about creating a legacy of products, services, and tools that really enable and encourage faculty to make that jump from just showing up, delivering the classes that were assigned, to really owning the classroom experience and the arc of transformational learning inside a course. This is Dr. Crystal, and thanks so much for listening to this recording. I really look forward to reading your comments and engaging with you. I would love to find out what it is that you're committed to this week, what you're committed to in this season of your career or the next season, and any other insights you have on what you'd like me to talk about in future videos. Take care.